let's address our first topic of the evening. We got Mr. Hot Toys Shang-Chi. And I want to talk about this because this is a really interesting one in terms of whether people view this as a win for Hot Toys or not. Because at the end of the day, this is one that the prototype was really, really great. And then these photos started to come out. And like a lot of Hot Toys collectors, including myself, sometimes tend to do, we panic. We look at these and we're like, oh, the prototype declined. Oh, he has too big of pecs. You know, we look at these things. And then the reviews start coming out. Then people start getting it in hand. And the opinions slowly start to go down, right? And the severity of the opinions start to go down. And that's generally how it goes. It went with Loki. It went with Cable. It's going to happen with Shang-Chi probably. I've seen Justin's review. I'm a lot more excited about this figure now. After seeing Justin's review, it quelled a little bit of my concern, although reaffirming some of them. That said, Carlos, I want to start with you because I know you're not as excited about this as I am. But fill us in. Is this a win for Hot Toys or did they not deliver here?
I don't think they delivered. I think we're seeing Shang-Chi. And, the problem is his pecs are massive, man. And it's just really weird at an angle. I really don't think this is a win. Because, look, you can go and kind of hide the joints and the elbow joints and all of that, right? And that was one of the things that we didn't like. But now you got big old boobies that we can't hide, and now we have that really big neck seam now that I don't believe we've seen. Let me see those things.
You want to see the pecs?
The pecs, bro. The pecs, the triple D's. So I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of it. The neck seam also seems pretty bad. I don't remember the last time I've seen a neck seam that bad on a figure. I feel like I've seen that like on third-party figures, but maybe I just haven't. I don't know, man. I mean, I just don't think that looks very good. The shoulder seams look, I guess you can kind of cover them and all, but I don't think there's a hit. I was really excited for Shang-Chi, and I think it's fair to say that I think the excitement maybe clouded my judgment a bit. I expected more, I guess. I don't know, but I definitely didn't expect to see big old boobies, and that's what I'm seeing all the time. So,
well, it's crazy when you look at it from this angle. It's not as present, Carlos. It's like depending upon the angle.
Well, and some of those, that's my point. I was like, and I don't really want to deal with that. Do you not care for the neck seam at all? Is that not even a thing?
It's a little bit bothersome, but I feel like when you're looking at it front on, you're never going to notice it anyway. Yeah. So it's not the end of the world to me. But I get what you're talking about. I get the criticism. Yeah.
Yeah, not a home run by any means. Can we? I think we can say not a home run. I think the head sculpt actually looks really good. It's probably like a 9. But it's overwhelmed because the only thing you want to look at is his boobs. So I kind of, like it looks like man boobs more than anything, like really saggy ones. That's really what it reminds me of. Like, am I wrong? Am I the only one that thinks that?
No. I mean, I agree. I think if you put him in the right pose, it's not going to matter. But I think, it's in because supposedly Justin was telling me that it's like a padding underneath. So, but the problem is accessing it is going to be extremely difficult because you're going to have to unstitch the shirt. You're going to have to unstitch it to get the padding out. But I'm not sure why they padded that area like that. So
yeah, I don't think. I'm not sure. But I don't think that sculpt is bad though. I just think
the sculpt is great.
No, I think it's overshadowed by the neck seam and the boobies, and now the joints. I think it's just a mixture of things. But hopefully, the next version will be better because that's kind of a. Let me see. Can you see some of these poses?
Yeah. See, like if you turn it from that angle,
see that looks better. Yeah. See that looks a lot better.
You can't tell from that. Yeah. Like if you put him in the right pose, I think you're going to be fine. Yeah.
But see, that's like the Scorpion from Storm Collectibles, right? You were like, oh, I don't like the joints, but I was like, bro, if you pose them the right way, you can hide the seams.
See, look at that.
Now in this case, it's like you have to pose them right to hide the boobies. So it's up to you at that point.
Well, I mean, yeah. So everyone likes boobies, but
it's not Marvel Legends though, because that's definitely not Marvel Legends.
No. I wouldn't say that. But I get what you're talking about. I think the problem is I think the visible joints for me are a little bit harder to conceal, and the fact that you have the shoulder ones too on the Scorpion and stuff like that. Yeah, you can work around it, but this is a little bit.
But I feel like if you pose them at the right angle, then you can't see the Scorpion. This is kind of the same thing. You kind of have to pose them right so you don't see his chest and you don't see some of those joints either.
Looks great.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. It looks, I guess
I
it's
think
with
you
a lot of
honestly have to
figures though, if you
tilt him
close them right.
down a little bit. You're kind of having that like facing forward a little bit, so then the chest doesn't look as exaggerated. It's kind of tilting forward. So that's what I would
Right.
say.
I gotta hide the man
Yeah.
boobs.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Marco, what do you think, bro? Did this Shang-Chi come out pretty good? Because, I mean, overall, I'm still getting it. I think I'm going to be pretty happy with it. Justin told me that he absolutely loves it. So it's like one of his favorite in his collection. So what do you think, Marco? Is this a home run?
Yeah, I think it's short of a home run for sure. I think it just overall is pretty mediocre. And I think we just talked about, the 6 scale market overall being very saturated. We got new companies entering the market. So for most of us that have to be choosy, this is probably one that's going to fall through the cracks. Now, when the prototype was shown, it looks great, right? Like it really looked like it was next level in terms of the detail, in terms of the paint application. So I think it's falling a bit short of that prototype that was shown off. I think the head looks a bit oversized. The body, obviously, we talked about the chi-chis there. Just not. It doesn't necessarily. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily just make it a transcendent figure. I think with a few fixes, like for instance, if they would have done the seamless forearms, they said, in between we, release this Wolverine and we're going to implement that technology on this, then that probably would have made this all of a sudden like one that people are going to go chase. Like, wow, okay, just a little bit of detail. And now it's, going from a figure that I was on the fence about to I got to go pick it up. And instead it kind of went the other way where it's a bit softer, the body's a bit odd, the head is oversized, the joints.
You think
don't
the head
look
is
great.
oversized?
And so, for me, it is. It just looks a little bit too big, and I know the actor has a big head. I'm a big fan of Kim's Convenience, and so he does have a big dome.
Marco's going with the shots tonight.
Yeah.
I know, dude. Next thing you're gonna say is that they
yeah.
ran out of male bodies and they had to use female bodies.
Yep.
Like, dang.
Well, I'm not going to say they used a Barbie body on here, but it doesn't not look like that. So yeah, I think overall I'm just like very unimpressed by this. But it's all about value with these Hot Toys, right? For like under 180, I would feel pretty good about picking him up and maybe, throwing him towards the back of my Avengers display. And I think it's going to look really nice on a lot of folks' shelves, but because there's so much cool stuff coming out, this is just, to me, feels like a step back from the prototype that they put out.
I honestly do think, Marco, that you are like if Shang-Chi is not an essential buy for you right now, I would hold off and wait because I do think this guy is going to go pretty low. I think it very much is likely, probable that this is going to be a figure that you're going to be able to get for under $200. Like
There's a 150 figure right here.
It could be
150 would
it
be
could
nice,
be maybe not. I don't. Maybe not that low. But I don't. Maybe 175. I'll meet you there.
150, 175. Yep. 150,
Yeah, 175.
because
I'll meet you in the middle.
people are gonna be like, I don't like the chi-chis. For 175, I love those chi-chis. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's gonna be one of
175.
those.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Yeah, but
You
know
like I
what I
said,
mean?
if you want to modify, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be very challenging.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a complete body swap from female to male body. So it's probably
Female to
gonna
male
have be-
body.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Mr. Kiko collects, sir. What do you think about this Shang-Chi? I
Dun,
know we've got
dun.
kind
Let's
of,
hear it.
some consistent yet divisive opinions. What do you have here?
Man, it's been 17 minutes and I finally got my shot here.
I know.
I was like,
well, it's because
damn,
you flexed on the benching thing.
I was like all the way at the bottom here, and I was like, man, I want to say some things, but you all make some good points.
Yeah.
But is this Sam Wilson Cap? No, I don't think anyone was expecting that. Here's my couple takeaways from it is that it should have been released with Wenwu. Honestly, this should have been like a Batman and Robin type of situation where they both released simultaneously. We know that most likely they're both essentially done. I mean, they could have done that. I'm not for sure what their distribution strategy is, because I think that would have taken away from all the naysayers, because you have a companion piece at that point. Let's talk accessories on this. You get a shit ton of accessories, some really good ones too. Keep that Captain Marvel up, by the way, because we're coming back to
Captain
that.
Marvel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same body?
This, I think, yes. What I think is so similar about this is that I know some people said that Shang-Chi is one of their favorite films, but to me, I feel like it's about as well received as Captain Marvel, simply because it didn't have the huge theatrical release. It was post Endgame, and then everyone's saying, oh, Shang-Chi is going to play a big part in the Kang Dynasty and all that. The same accessories that went with Captain Marvel are really similar to this. Massive blast accessories, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then Captain Marvel sat in the bargain bin. Nothing wrong with the Captain Marvel figure by any means. People didn't like the actress. Sometimes people don't really like the actor here as well, because apparently he's been outspoken on some things. People don't like that either. Maybe the reason they released this is Oh yeah. Maybe
yeah,
they
I see.
released this singularly because they didn't want to detract from Winwoo sales potentially as well. But as far as the figure itself, that's what we're talking about here. I think everyone's being a little too harsh, honestly. I really do. I mean, it's a ninja type of samurai, not samurai, but like it's a martial arts type figure. Okay, you want it for the posability, you want it for those dynamic moments, and
Fair.
when you have those dynamic moments, you can do all kinds of cool poses, and no one's going to be like, "Oh, it doesn't look right." Honestly, I haven't seen a single review, I haven't seen anything yet. And until you mentioned the thing, I wouldn't have noticed the chest, honestly, until someone mentioned it and we started making the jokes about it. And I honestly didn't see that. Even from right there, I didn't see that. So my thing with this and this figure, which is also interesting to me, is that usually, because you guys know I get a lot of my stuff, from Pop Collectibles or whatever, they reach out and they say, "Hey, you interested in this figure?" I haven't heard a thing from them about this one. They asked me when I was on my vacation in Mexico, "Hey, do you want the Mark One?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't got the Mark One. I already got the Mark One." But I didn't hear a thing about this figure, which is interesting. I don't think it's highly sought after, and people are flocking to get it, which is interesting. Maybe they just assume that it's not going to sell well. I don't know, and not even offering it up there. That's the one takeaway that I think is interesting, is that no one's really pushing this. And outside of, how long has it been? 5-6 days. Once it was initially released, no one's talked about it since. It's all been Batman still. And so very interesting. So
Well, I think you're actually onto something, Kiko, because I've been, talking to Kit, 16 Kit, about this, and that's who I'm getting mine from. And he should be shipping it over the next few days. But he told me, he was like, this thing is going to drop below $200. He was like, if you want to wait, you can just wait and pick it up then. And I was like, well, I kind of wanted a little bit earlier just because I really love Shang-Chi. But he was like, it's gonna drop. So I think you're onto something, Kiko. I think this is going to be one that people will be able to pick up for under, like I said, under $200. Maybe like Carlos said, 175, something like that. I think that's going to be something. So if you have some hesitations with this figure, I think at 175 you're going to feel a lot better about it when you can pose him in this type of pose or something similar and make it look amazing. So I'm really excited about it nonetheless, because I'm a little bit different than you, Kiko. I love Shang-Chi. I love the film. I love the character. I love Wenwu. It's one of my favorite movies, not just Marvel movies. I love it. So Carlos, what did you want to say?
I was gonna say that see, the thing, Kiko, is that in this video it doesn't look so bad, but in those release photos, man, they look.
I'll show this.
Yeah, show those.
As someone who does the photography thing, I've never been real pleased with a lot of people's blogger photos. There's some that are really sketchy. So
do other ones, because this is, yeah.
That one still has a pretty big area.
Yeah, he does.
Bosom.
And then, but there was one where he was standing like sideways.
There's
That
not
looks pretty
one.
fine.
There's not
Yeah, that
one
one
moment
looks
where
fine.
I said this dude's got breasts yet. I
Really?
still have not seen that. I do not see that at all. No.
Maybe here. Yeah.
No?
Show me the one that you're talking about. Like, I can see
Okay,
that
keep
there's
going.
padding there,
Keep going.
but I mean, he's a built martial artist who needs that upper body strength. I don't see anything yet. I need to see the one where someone said, "This dude knows rocking the double D's. He needs the bro."
We're being dramatic about the breasts, though. It's
Right,
like
I get
not
that, but
crazy
it's not a
noticeable,
problem
right?
to me. And I've still not
I
seen
mean,
one
do you
yet.
not see it there?
If you wouldn't have
No.
pointed, okay, the far left highlight on that nipple area, maybe, but it's still nothing to where I'd be like,
I mean,
"Oh."
there's some pretty bad ones. We're not gonna spend. We're
Yeah,
not gonna.
right, right. But
This
I get where
segment
you
we're
guys
not
are
gonna
coming
call it.
from.
Can we find a tit? You know what I mean? We're not gonna do that. But
Missed
But
opportunity
to
for
me,
a
if
segment.
that's going to be a
right
I
there.
know.
talking point, you need to be able to show me that in every picture this dude has been taking some type of hormones or something. That to me, it's just not big enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I love hearing your thoughts on that one. Great thoughts. So thank you so much for contributing on that one. We got a super chat.